John.
By the way, you get full edit. You get the full edit.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. We're up to Lamed Ches Amid Beis. Lamed Ches Amid Beis. Yeah, I am recording. Actually, we're up to Lamed Zayin Amid Beis, right? Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. So we saw this concept of my Shavas. What does Moshe Seicha mean? Does it mean Eretz Yisrael? Does it mean B'chol Makan? So machloikas between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Eliezer regarding what? Regarding Chadash. Where Rabbi Tanakama said that mitzvah skliya b'aretz is only in Eretz Yisrael, with the exception of Arla and Kalayim. He said Arla and Kalayim are also b'chutz la'aretz. He said Rabbi Eliezer afa Chadash. The question was he being machmir or mekel? We said it's being machmir, that even Chadash would be noigwad in chutz la'aretz. Even the Chadash be noig b'chutz la'aretz. In fact, it is noig b'chutz la'aretz. In fact, it's very interesting. There's beyond the scope of the shir, Reis Tzad Gimel. There's a very, very famous Bach. This man is there, like why people are not so makbid on Yoshan in chutz la'aretz. Like Chol Yisrael, everyone is like, oh, Yerich Yav Chol Yisrael. Chol Yisrael, that's is mini Yisrael. But Chodesh should be Issa Deraisa. Be an Issa Deraisa again. If we pass on Chodesh is not because there's the Deraisa bis man is there, it will be us until the 17th day of Nisan. 17th day. Usually, what happens? Bisman Abayis, they brought the korban, and they could eat right away because Kahanim were very what they took care of things. And then in Shalom Bisman Abayis, once Tez Zion passed, in Chutz La'aretz, since we have an extra day, it's Yud Zion. Right, so you can't eat the Chodesh until Yud Zion. So when you see, go to the pizza store, we use Yoshan. It's a big thing. It's not people think that Yoshan is something that's from us. No one kept it. I'm saying there's reasons. Again, the big rate is most of the grain is grown by goyim. Most of the grain is grown by goyim. So it's brought down that Chodesh is even known by the grain of the goy. So yeah, this is a Reish Tzad Gimel. The Maramokim is Reish Tzad Gimel. It's beyond the scope of the share. Just giving you a little tayam. That's where you should go to.
It's the word for more time and that.
Yeah, again, that's the Sveika. Was it from this year, not this year? This all goes into the suffix. Okay. Anyway, but Chalapachas again is beyond the scope of the share. Let's get going. So now you have so we said that. So Moshe, when it says Moshe, we ask each place why it was necessary to say it. So we're up to Tefillin and Petach Hamar. Be the Kasser Rachmana, about 7 lines up. Be the Kasser Rachmana Gavi Tefillin Petach Hamar Lamali. We buy the Chidatan Rabbi Shmuel. We need for the Yeshir Rabbi Shmuel. Also mitzvah zudu, the mitzvah of Petach Hamar and Tefillin. Shebishvah Tikanish La'aretz. Now Bishna and Man Yom Rabbi Eliezer Moshe of Kol Makam Shata Yoshim Mashma. Very good. It says that any place where you sit, any place you do well means even Chutz La'aretz. It makes sense. The following event that took place in Yeshua. They ate from what? From the land itself. From again Tezayin or Rabbeinu Tam, the place that says Tesvav. They didn't eat before. They only ate afterwards. Why did they eat before? Because it was already Chadash and Chutz La'aretz. So they didn't eat before. So they only ate Mimachas HaPesach. After what? After, according to Pashim Shat, they brought the Omer. So you see that what? It was like in Chutz La'aretz. It was like in Chutz La'aretz. Says the Gemara. Alma, what do you see? Akrav Omer v'hadachol. They brought the Omer and then they ate. Why? Because it was like in Chutz La'aretz. Olimandi Amal Achi Yerusha V'Yeshiva Leit Rabbi Shmuel. That's darshans that what? That machras means only after Eretz Yisrael is settled. Why did they have to wait? Since Eretz Yisrael wasn't settled, they just came into Eretz Yisrael, right? Nechel alta, let them eat immediately, right? There's no reason to go ahead and keep chadash. It's not noyig yet. So that's the kash on Rabbi Shmuel and a raya to Rabbi Eliezer. Says, the reason they didn't eat was a practical reason. It was unnecessary. It was unnecessary for them to eat. Why? Because they had food. Dichsiv ubnei Yisrael achloy es hamon aboyim shana, and Bnei Yisrael ate the mon for 40 years. Ad boyim el eretz neishavis, till they came to the land of their inhabitants. Es hamon achlu ad boyim el kitseyo eretz Canaan. That's the lashon of the pasuk in Shmos Tezayin pasuk lamed hey. So you have two things in the pasuk: one, eretz neishavis, and two, ad kitseyo eretz Canaan. So Shabbos seems to mean, according to Rashi, means Eretz Yisrael proper. Could say Eretz Canaan means up to what? Up to Eretz Canaan, but not entering Eretz Yisrael yet. Now, Ef Shaloimed that he ate mon ad boyim el Eretz Nesheves, so they came to Eretz Yisrael proper. Shekvar Nemar El Katzei Eretz Canaan up until Arvas Moyav. The Ef Shaloimed El Katzei Eretz Canaan Shekvar Nemar ad boyim el Eretz Nesheves. So which one is it? Okay, Tzad. B'Shiva ba'Ada Meis Moshe. On the 7th day of Adar, Moshe was nifta. And we know Moshe was nifta on the 7th day of Adar, and the schus of the mon was what? Because of Moshe. Who pasuk min mon miliyere, and the mon stopped coming down. V'hoyim mistapkin mi mon shebeklayim, and they were going ahead. They're using the mon that were in the kalim ad shisha asa b'nisan. In other words, a nest happened that the mon didn't spoil, so the mon kept on working. It kept on being in existence until the 6th day of Nisan. So 6th day of Nisan, you know what? They didn't go ahead and bring bring the. Why didn't they didn't have to go ahead and bring the oimet to eat? There was food to eat. Light it, it's answering up. Light him. The 16th day. Light him. They could have eaten right away. Why didn't they eat right away? And the answer is they didn't have to eat right away. They had mun. Okay, so very famous taisus over here, guys. Look at the top taisus. Akav b'oime b'hada achal. It's mashma like the man the Amar Rebbe Eliezer that Chodesh was noig in Chutz Laretz. That Chodesh was noig mashma like Rebbe Eliezer that Chodesh was noig in Chutz Laretz. They couldn't eat until what? Until they brought. No, there's no het whatsoever to eat until you're going to go ahead and bring it. Says the Gemara. Says Taisus. B'Yushalmi maksha in Yushalmi the yes. Lama loy achlu matzah mechadash. Why couldn't they eat matzah from the Chodesh? The Yavei essay the be'erev tochlu matzahs. The Yitcha say the Chadash. We know the concept of asay dochalos asay. So the mitzvah asay of matzah should be doicha the lois asay of eating Chadash. So why do they have to wait to Tazayin? Even if there was Chadash and Chutz La'aretz, you should have the mitzvah of asay dochalos asay. Gewaldige kasha, guys, right? Gewaldige kasha. And for Taisvitz, with Haritz, listen to this. The ain essay the koidim adibur. Right? An essay that came before the dibur, matzah came before the dibur, guys. Matzah came before the dibur. It's not doicha los say that came after the dibur. Inami yesh loima the gezeris kazayis rishon not the kazayis sheni. The big question is essay doicha los say. We had the kasha in Yavamis, like we said. What the first bia would be permitted, but the second one wouldn't be. The first one's a mitzvah, the second one's not. So the reason why they couldn't, they're worried, good, you eat matzah, right? That's you do the mitzvah. But the next achila, which is not a mitzvah of eretz hachla matzahs, you wouldn't have a heta for that. So two reasons. Ein essay dochalos say an essay before the before Matan Torah. The matzah came before Matan Torah, right? We got the Mitzrayim already. Right? It's not doicha olos essay. It's not the olos essay after Matan Torah. And another reason that it's a gzeira, we're worried that good, you can eat the first one, worry about the second one. I was thinking about the first terrace. Guys, let me, I'm just throwing this out. I just thought of it, I don't know, truth or not truth, I'm throwing it out. Why would it be that an essay before Matan Torah, what's the difference? So perhaps this, perhaps. The reason essay dochalos say like the Ramban, the reason essay dochalos say like the Ramban is because of an assay is done ba'ava. An assay you're doing ba'ava. A lois assay is machira. To serve Hashem b'tech ava is stronger than yira. Ken zayin that an assay before Matan Torah also was b'tech yira. In other words, before Matan Torah, you didn't have the Torah yet. You didn't have the avos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu yet until Matan Torah. So Ken zayin that the assay before the dibur was a different sort of assay. Clearly, like Taisus, it is a different assay, right? Clearly, like Taisus, it clearly is a different assay. So it's a svar to say maybe it's that say before Matan Torah, it's not mitach av, it's also mitach yira. So then mitach yira, if this is mitach yira, that's mitach yira. Perhaps what that's the reason it's not. Again, I have no idea if it's true. I just thought of it about 5 minutes ago. But
once Matan Torah came, then it doesn't that essay would it even if it started mitach yira, wouldn't it change for Ava? So
you're asking kasha and taisus. So once as you're getting l'chayra, I would say not. I would say answer you like this. Well, how many mitzvahs do we get at Sinai? So you say 613, right? It was 6. You say 606 because the Zayin mitzvah b'nei Noach, right? You say Zayin mitzvah b'nei Noach. That's what you'd say, but it's not true. We got every mitzvah we got redone. We got the mitzvah of Mila is good. We learned that from Avram Avinu, but when we got it, we got a new mitzvah. The tzibur was to Avram. We got a new mitzvah. I don't know, since matzah was given b'shas Yetzias Mitzrayim, and we know before Matan Torah and Mora they got certain mitzvahs, right? Those mitzvahs were standard. So Ken Zayin, to answer your question, the mitzvah say a matzah was not renewed at Sinai. It was the matzah that we got from Mitzrayim. That's what I would say in regular achas. I hear your question, but it's a nice carve of reasoning. Okay, Geshmak. Says the Gemara. Now this is Penny came tonight. This is like it's like he calls playtime. Easy, nice. Yeah. I got it. I got it. Okay, so now Moshe was lifted out on Zion Adar. B'tanya Idach. U'bnei Yisrael ochlu es hamon. The Bnei Yisrael ate hamon. Arboim shana. They ate it for 40 years. For the Gemara, Arboim shana ochlu. They ate it for 40 years. Arboim shana chasa shleishim yom ochlu. They ate it for 40 years, less 30 days. Right. Elolayim lecha ugoy shaitzim Mitzrayim. The ugos they took out of Mitzrayim. Tamu behem tammon. They had what the tam of mon. Notice you'll say I say mon tasted like anything, right? But it did have a taste. It had it was honey cake, right? It was a honey cake, right? So that Tanyidach, another brisa. B'shiva ba'adar meis Moshe. Moshe was nifter on the 7th day of Adar. B'shiva ba'adar noilad, and he was born on the 7th day of Adar. Minayin shivas ba'adar meis. How do you know he died on the 7th day of Adar? Shnemar. Vayomash Som Moshe Eved Hashem, and Moshe Eved Hashem was nifta. Now, Ukasiv Vayivchu Bnei Yisrael Es Moshe Ba'arbes Moyav Shloishim Yom, and they were boicha. They mourned Moshe. They cried for Moshe 30 days. So now, you don't know which 30 days from when. 30 days from when you don't know. You don't know anything else. You just know one thing, that Bnei Yisrael cried 30 days after the P'tir of Moshe. Ukasiv Vayi Achri Moshe Eved Hashem. Ukasiv Moshe Avdi Meis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to Yeshua. He says after the death of Moshe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to Yeshua, and he says Moshe Avdi Meis. V'yato kum abor. Go get up. In other words, it's time for Avelis to be over. Ukasiv Avru b'kerev ha'machne. Pierce through the machne. B'tzvu es ha'am leimor. V'chinu lochem tzeda. Prepare yourself food. Ki ba'oid shleishes yamim, for what? 30 days. Tavru es hayard, 3 days. Tavru es hayadim, we're going to pass the yarding. Okay, so now we know that it was 30 days of Bechia, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to Yeshua and says it's over, and 3 days from now, get ready, we're going into Eretz Yisrael. Good? Uksiv, v'am olu min hayardain, and the Am came up from the Yardain, ve'esel l'chodesh harishayin, on the 10th day of the first month. First month is Nisan. So Bnei Yisrael go into where? Eretz Yisrael on Nisan. So we have to now backtrack how many days? 33 days. Backtrack 33 days. You go back, do the math, right? That'll give you 23 wad of Adar and 10 of Nisan. There you go, you got it. Say mehen shloishu shloishim yom ma'afreya, olamarata shebeshiva ba'adar meis Moshe. That's Moshe died. So we ascertain Moshe died from the fact that we know that Bnei Yisrael went into Eretz Yisrael on Yud. They went into Yud. There's some Torah over here. Again, I haven't taught Sefer Yeshua in many years. They ate from what? They ate from the Chodesh. So listen, they went in Yud what? Yud Nisan, right? And that means that they had a bris milah on Yud Aleph. Yeah. And they had to go ahead. The grain had to grow. Tez Zayin, from Yud Aleph to Zayin, the grain had to grow in order to go ahead and take the Chadash, to take the Omer, correct? So a nest happened in that very short period of time. A nest occurred that it grew in from Yud Aleph to Tez Zayin. It grew. Usually you have to go a shlish of your growth into, it grew very quickly, or else you can't go ahead and it had to grow in your possession. So it's very interesting. I remember something like that. Okay.
It wasn't even, they didn't have possession.
Okay, but they planted something, whatever they were. They went to Gilgal. They had something yet. They didn't divide the land up yet. But again, according to Rabbi Elazar, it's not b'chutz la'aretz, so it doesn't have to be their land, but it has to be their growth, right? It had to grow over there. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. So how do you know? Shiva Ada Noilad Moshe Shneimar Vayom Aleim Ben Me'av Esem Shana Anoich Hayoim. I'm 120 years old today. Like Uchal Oy Latseis V'Lavay. No, I can't go ahead and lead you anymore. Shein Tamalema Hayoim. What do you have to say Hayoim? Just say I can't lead you anymore. Matam Hayoim. Malam Shek Kodesh Baruch Hu Yoshev Umamalish Nesem Shal Tzadikim. Because it fills the same Tzadikim Miyoim LeYoim Umechodesh LeChodesh. Shneimar Esmisba Yemecha Amalei. So I think by David Melech also. That was David Melech by Shuas, right? David Melech was Nifta and Shuas. He's one of Shuas. 70 years. He got 70 years exactly from Ad Marishan. Tanya, okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, Penny, you can go. Okay, says Gemara. Anyway, what?
I like the
Always late.
But at least I come. Come sit on my lap again. Let's make it fun for a bit.
Tanya, Reb Shimei Chayyim. Shloisha mitzvahs to Tavi Yisrael b'Kidushin l'Aretz. So 3 mitzvahs that are Rashi brings that are Tluya b'Aretz. Rashi Shloisha mitzvahs Chodosh v'Orla v'Kilayim. So Reb Shimon obviously holds like what? Reb Shimon Elazar Shloisha mitzvahs Tavi Yisrael b'Kidushin l'Aretz. Only when they got into Eretz Yisrael, like Rabbi Shmuel, right? Like Rabbi Shmuel. Then a Heges bein ba'Aretz bein b'Chutz l'Aretz. And now he doesn't look at Rabbi Shmuel. They didn't plant in the midbar. They didn't grow at all. So they now, when they get into Eretz Yisrael, it's not like Rabbi Eliezer, bein b'Chutz bein b'Chutz l'Aretz. Who adin Chodosh. So now the 3 mitzvahs. Right, we had 3 Chodosh Orla Kalayim, and who adin Chodosh Sheninohu ba. Uma Chodosh she'eni Surah Issa Olam. Chodosh which is not Asur Issa Olam. Right, because every year it gets mutter. Ve'eni Surah Issa Hana. And even fellas, before you could feed it to your animal, even before you're able to feel chodesh to your animal, fellas. So it's not issa bahana. You can have enough, and you just can't eat it. And number 3, v'yesh heta le'isuroi, right? And there's heta to it, and there's heta to its issa. Bein ba'aretz, bein b'chutz la'aretz. Kilayim she'isura yisaylam. Kilayim, which is asa forever. V'isura issa hana. And we're talking about Klei HaKerem, fellas. Klei HaKerem is Chita Soira V'Gefen. Chita Soira V'Gefen. Klei Zeroyim is only the Rabbanon. Klei Kerem is also the Raisa. It's Ben Tugdash, it's also Bahana. You have to get enough from Klei HaKerem. The Ein Hetali Surah, it's also, you got to burn it. Ein Edin Shino, it's been Mechustar. So you have a Kal V'Chayim that Kalayim should be Asa. But who are Din La Arla B'Shtayim? And Arla would be in 2. All the A is asa bahana, and there's ein heta mitoich isura. Once it's asa, there's no heta. Kimata, but it's not is asa isoilam, right? It's not asa isoilam because after 3 years you're able to go ahead and eat arla. After 3 years you can go ahead and eat arla. Okay, Reb Shimon, the son of Reb Shimon, he argues on his father, and he says that chodesh is not noig b'chutz laretz, right? Right. That Chodesh is not like b'chutz laretz. So he holds like Rabbi Shmuel. So Rabbi Shimon holds like Rabbi Elazar. That's like b'chutz laretz. And Elazar Shimon Oimer on the days that kol mitzvah shenis tav Yisrael koydem chisason laretz. Any mitzvah that Yisrael was commanded before they entered Eretz Yisrael, neheges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz laretz. Any mitzvah l'chayre that they were noig before, it says not a mitzvah t'li baretz, fellas, right? It's not a mitzvah t'li baretz. Says Rashi, top Rashi. Kol mitzvah shenis Yisrael lehanhiga koydem sheichus la'aretz dahainu chayves haguf. That would be a chiyuv on the person themselves. Leheges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz la'aretz. To be noig sai ba'aretz and sai b'chutz la'aretz. Okay, back in the Gemara. La'achar knisas la'aretz. After they came into Eretz Yisrael, eino noheges ela ba'aretz. Then it's only noig ba'aretz. Chutz min hashmatas ksafim. Yishiluach avodim, with the exception of hashmatas kisafim, yishiluach avodim. Sha'afal pishin etztav v'oleim la'achar knisason la'aretz. Even though it was commanded only after they got into Eretz Yisrael, Heges it's noig bein ba'aretz bein l'chutz la'aretz. So hashmatas kisafim is different. Hashmatas kisafim is different. Rashi says, "Look, parach, and that means etztav v'oleim kaidin l'chein la'chayves hagufi." Well, my chutz. No, this mashma from here that Hashmatas Ksafim Meshluach Avodim it's different. What's the difference, guys? Outside, what's the rule of thumb? If something was noig beforehand, chayvus aguf, it's noig bein baretz bein b'chutz laaretz. If something is only noig when you get into Eretz Yisrael, it's only in Eretz Yisrael, with the exception of sending away avodim and ksafim. That's mashma, even though it was only in Eretz commanded in Eretz Yisrael, it's noig in chutz laaretz. Again, Eretz Yisrael, only Eretz Yisrael. Except these two. These Eretz Yisrael was noig in chutz laaretz. So the Gemara is going to ask the kasha. These are chayvus aguf. Anything that's chayvus aguf is noig beforehand. So why? But in other words, I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, one more time. It's a little word, very wordy. Anything that was noig before, meaning it's not dependent upon Eretz Yisrael, we'll call it what? Chayvus aguf. That's noig where? Sai in Eretz Yisrael, sai in chutz laaretz. Anything that's noig only when you get into Eretz Yisrael, meaning what? It's Tuliyah Ba'aretz, is what? Only in Eretz Yisrael, with exception of two things, which l'chayra are what, based upon our formula, are what? Are chayvus Eretz Yisrael, Hashmatas Ksafim, the din of what? Of your money losing, if you don't write a principal, you lose your geld, and sending out the avodim. That even though they're Tuliyah Ba'aretz, they're noig in chutz laaretz. And the Gemara is going to ask, maybe they're not Tuliyah Ba'aretz. They were noig beforehand, they're chayvus like guf. It doesn't depend upon the guf. That's what the Gemara is asking now. Okay, further the Gemara. Hashmatas Ksafim chayvus a gufi. Hashmatas is chayvus a guf. It has nothing to do with the land. It has nothing to do with the land. No. Like litzurcha ella the following. Okay, the Tanya. The Tani. Rabbi says, "V'zed devar hashmita shomit." Now it says "v'zed devar hashmita," double lashon, right? "V'zed devar hashmita." That's the lashon of the pasuk. Good, very good. So you have a double lashon of what? Now, the shtei shmita is a custom of We're speaking about two things that you have to slip away from. Achas shmita karka. One is the shmita of karka. The achas shmita ksafim. The other one shmita ksafim. Now, bisman she'atem meshamet karka, atem meshamet ksafim. So when there's shmita of karka, then there's shmita ksafim. When there's no shmita, ksafim, right? Therefore, they weren't mitzvah in the midbar, guys. They weren't commanded in the midbar. Why not? Because as of yet, there wasn't shmita ksafim. So even up, take care, Emmanuel. Okay, roll it. The orange glove. Okay, guys. So here's the svara. You wanted to tell me the following. Since it's a chayvus haguf hashmatas ksafim, it doesn't fit the formula. What's our formula? Anything that's noig ba'aretz is only noig ba'aretz, with the exception of what? Of hashmatas ksafim. For the Gemara, it's hashmatas, it's chayvus haguf, so it should be noig afilu b'chutz laaretz. And the answer is, it only began being noig in Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't noig in chutz laaretz because it's totally in hashmatas ksafim, karka. So before they got into Eretz Yisrael, they weren't noig hashmatas karka yet. So since they weren't noig hashmatas karka, they weren't noig hashmatas ksafim. And that's so. Even though it's a chayvus haguf, they were noig what they were in chutz laaretz. Now we just have to do the same figure eight by shliach avodim. Says the Gemara. The aim of b'makom she'atem meshamet karka atem meshamet ksafim, b'makom she'einatem meshamet karka einatem meshamet ksafim. Now let's say what that in chutz laaretz, since there's no hashmatas karka, there's no hashmatas ksafim. In other words, take another step. Don't just make it totally in this man when it begins noig. Take a look at the place. Maybe a place only where hashmatas karka in Eretz Yisrael is hashmatas ksafim noig. That'll be the only place we need a principle. It says they called Shemitah Lashem Mikol Makam even in chutz laaretz. Okay, this next Shiluach Avodim Chayvus Agufi. Shiluach Avodim is a chiyuv on the guf. So what's the kasha? So the chayre they should have been noig before they got into Eretz Yisrael. Salkadait Chamin, I would have thought Hoyel Kasiv Ukrosim Deraba Aretz. This is B'shas Yovel. It says you call a freedom to the land, but Eretz in the chutz laaretz loy, and therefore what? In other words, so you think it's only noig in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore right? It wasn't noig until they got there. Just well, we call Mokum. Came out Tamalim Ba'aretz. So what do you say Ba'aretz? Mashmavad crossing draw Ba'aretz. This man sheha draw noig Ba'aretz noig b'chutz laretz. When it's noig, when the yovel is noig Ba'aretz, it's noig b'chutz laretz. Ain't draw noig Ba'aretz, ain't a noig b'chutz laretz. So not noig b'chutz laretz. Okay, Tan Hasam. Chodesh asim in Torah. Again, this is what we began to share with the Chodesh. The Kiddush is asim in Torah. The winter grain that before Tezayin Nisan is asim in Torah. We call makom in any place. We call makom in any place. Again, the very famous Bach, a very long Bach in Reish Tzad Gimel in the tour. It's a very, very famous piece. Orla halacha. Orla that it's noig in chutz laretz is a halacha. Kalayim is midivrei seifrim, and that kalayim is noig b'chutz laretz is divrei seifrim. So we have the Mishnah that said that mitzvahs tli ba'aretz and noig only ba'aretz. We had two exceptions, kalayim and orla, like the Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer eated off a chodesh. The Gemara now is saying that chodesh is asim in a Torah. They asked one of the famous questions is we don't paskin like Rabbi Eliezer. Eliezer shemutihi. Rabbi Eliezer was a Talmud of Shammai. So we don't paskin like Rabbi Eliezer, but we are paskin like Rabbi Eliezer over here because this is a stam mishnah, fellas, in Arla. The psak is not because of Rabbi Eliezer and Agamar. It's because this is a stam mishnah in Arla. So therefore we paskin that way. It's just interesting to note. I looked up the Rambam in the Gimel from my Cholos Yisuris Halacha Beis, and it's put down the Radvazdi. He says Rebbe Lazar. He doesn't say Rabbi Eliezer. He had a Gersa Rebbe Lazar. And on Mishnah, if you notice, it just said Reish Aleph, guys. If you look at the Gersa on Mishnah, it doesn't say Rebbe Eliezer. It says Reish Aleph. So it could be usually Stam is Rebbe Eliezer. It's usually found in Mishnah, but it could be Rebbe Eliezer ben Shemua was a Tana. Rebbe Eliezer ben Shemua was a Tana, right? So that would answer all problems, right? But again, so that is the halacha that we pass the Chodesh based upon this Mishnah here in Orla. So now, my halacha, when it says the halacha, what does that mean? Amrav Yehuda Shmuel Hilchasa Medina, says Rashi. Go up, guys. Hilchasa Medina. What does that mean? Hin higuhu heim alehem b'chutz laretz. In other words, they were noig. It wasn't a halacha Moshe Misin like we always learn midaraisa. It's a minig. It's a minig that they kept what? They kept Arla in Chutz La'aretz. And since it's a minig, nafkamina would be, could you feed it to a chayla she'ein basakana? Pnei Yeshua says yes. That would be a nafkamina in halacha. Right? It would be even less severe than midivrei seifrim. It's a minig. When it says asa midei seifrim, it means the bezdin midrabanan said it's asa. This is the minig that the noig on themselves. So therefore, that's halacha. Says Yehuda is Hilchas Medina. Ulama, like we always would think, Rabbi Yochanan, name Rabbi Yochanan is halacha l'maish misinai, which make it asa the raisa, makes it asa the raisa. Be aware, fellas, you can't get punished on halacha l'maish misinai. It's a very good idea to know. There's no halacha l'maish misinai. You can't get an einish for it because it's statement in the Torah. Any halacha l'maish misinai. Any halacha l'maish misinai. What?
Keep that in mind.
So punishment. Let's say you get malchus for eating the stuff. You won't get malchus. You couldn't get malchus for eating it because it's halacha l'maish misinai. You may get malchus mardis, but you can't punish on halacha l'maish misinai. Now I'm just telling you. When I say punishment, we mean best and shell. Huh?
We get you a free ticket. We're in the video. We don't have to worry.
Okay, anyway. I'm Leulu Rav Yehuda Bishleim very according to me. I mean Allah Chumash Misinai Hainu Deshani La being Suffolk Arla the Suffolk Kalayim. I have a difference between Suffolk Arla and Suffolk Kalayim. So again, Arla, the Shaila is on Arla, guys, right? Ditnan. It's the last Mishnah in this is the second to last Mishnah in Masechta Arla. Suffolk Arla ba'aretz asa. If you have Suffolk Arla, there's two possibilities of Suffolk Arla. That it's there's trees in the field, you don't know where it's from, or look at Rashi brings the two Sveikas fellas. Look up Suffolk Arla. All right. Suffolk Arla, it's a Suffolk whether it's a 3-year-old tree, or it's a pardes that has both, and you don't know which tree it came from. Good? So it's a Suffolk the tree itself, or Vade, there's trees there that were Arla trees and Vade trees not, and you have a Suffolk which one. Okay? The nan Suffolk Arla ba'aretz asar b'sura muta. Sura is the land that David HaMelech conquered. We had it in Gittin, and Gittin with Kibush Yachid is Lishma Kibush. The Chutz Laaretz, in Chutz Laaretz, Arlen Chutz Laaretz, fellas, Yoyred v'loikeach, you go down and you can buy from a guy, ubilvad shelo yerenu loike, provided you did not see him gathering it in. If you saw him gathering it in, then you would not be able to go ahead and buy it. Good? This is Safik Arla. The ilu gabi kalayim tanan, kerem hanetua yerek, a kerem that is planted, you have a yerek next to it, the yerek nimcha, and therefore you have a problem of kalayim the yerek. The yerek nimcha b'chutz laaretz. Excuse me. The yerek nimcha chutzaloi ba'aretz asa b'sura muta b'chutz laaretz. Listen to this, guys. Yoyred v'loik it. You can go down and lock it. Ubevachla yilkot and biyad. You can't do it yourself. So kalayim we're more makel than arla. By arla you can't see him be malakit at all. By kalayim you could see him in malakit, just can't do it yourself. Now, Bishleim, according to me, that Allah is Allah Moshe Sinai and Kalayim is Midrabanan. We understand the chumrah of what? Of Allah over Kalayim. That's why you can't go ahead and be present when they malak it. But by Kalayim you could. Ella Vidach, according to you, Nisni, it should learn in the Mishnah. Since according to you, it's the Rabbanan, correct? It's both the Rabbanon, then either Zeze like it, either go down and buy, or Yorid will like it, or go down and gather. It must be consistent. So it says the Gemara, Amlei Shmuel Rabbanan, Einachnami Tani, or Zeze Yorid will like it, or Zeze Yorid will like it. In other words, learn there's no difference between Safik Arla and Safik Layim. Mabrei the Ravno, Mastila Lakula, only Lakula. Zeze Yorid will like it. You could be out. Even Arla, you can go ahead and watch the guy take it, provided you don't do it yourself. Amalei Levi the Shmuel Aryach, he called him Aryach Melech. Typically, give it to me, but not Echel, and I'll eat. Rav Avia, Rav Baruchanan, Mesafkes Sukiladodi, and they went ahead and they ate. Okay. Back to you. Back to everyone.
You're going to be recording another one tomorrow night. So,